Now this is just some of the random things that happened in the last couple of days down at our wonderful wonderful world of motorcycles. Now what I always try to do, and it's one of my goals, is to try not to ride the same bike 2 days in a row, and in the last 4 or 5 days here I've been able to do that and basically get to ride most of the bikes in my collection. And I always start off the day down at my friendly Sunoco station, where the guy looks at me and I come in on one bike one day, the next day, and he must think I'm a millionaire, but if he only knew. Anyway, what I wanted to do this day, I had a couple of things. I wanted to ride the bike with the new gas cap. Luciano had an issue with the O-ring leaking, and what happened after riding this twice now with a full tank of gas down to empty, didn't have any issues with the O-ring, but I'm going to keep an eye on it anyway. These are the $24 gas caps, and they're really beautifully made. I really can't say anything bad about them. And it added a nice little touch to Sophia, because the gas cap when we got the bike looked like somebody took a hammer to it and then tried to cover it up with this plastic carbon fiber. So that solved the whole problem. So that was one thing out of the way, and it got me to ride one of the bikes that I enjoy riding. Now, the nice thing about having a 4-day weekend is you get to ride 4 different days. Now, we started our landscaping in the yard. That's going to continue for the next couple of weeks. The wisteria is not out yet, but what I do at the end of every ride is try to do some of the yard work so it doesn't all build up to the point that in the past I've had to take a whole weekend and do it. Now, another thing I try to do for my son-in-law Rob, him and I share the ownership of this motorcycle. It's actually his bike. I just helped him out with buying it, and we made a good choice here. He's enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. I try to keep it up. Try to ride it at least once a month. Keep all the maintenance issues up on it. And one of the things it allows me to do, it allows me to sample different types of bikes, different styles, different sizes, and just, I don't know, I guess the overall thing is you just get a little more experience as a rider. This bike in particular is really good in the twisties, and I've been surprised because I've ridden Ray Straub's SV6s and when we were in Florida, and this bike feels very, very similar to it. A very similar feel, similar power delivery. And so when I linked up with Larry, we wanted to go up to the Onion Fields, and there's some straight roads up there where you can really check out the top speed of your bike without any issues of law enforcement ruining your whole day. And we had been to the Onion Fields once before, and Larry had a great way of putting it. He said it's like riding in Europe. And we enjoy going just north of the Onion Fields, and that's where it really gets twisty and nice. Now Larry's just got a new set of Dunlops on his bike, and we're trying to monitor how they're wearing in. Well, if he didn't scuff them in today, they're not going to get scuffed in. So after the big ride to the Onion Fields, along comes Saturday, and I wanted to go up. I like to go to Perkins on the weekend, meet up with some of the people that we enjoy hanging out and lying and telling stories and fibbing to each other and telling each other that we're faster than Valentino Rossi and, well, younger than Marky Marquez. But somehow they're on to us. Anyway, we got just about 2,000 miles on this since we did the major restoration on it, and a little less than 2,000. And I'm always looking for little things I can upgrade, improve. It's going to need a back tire pretty soon. I've already gone through about half of a back tire. So I'm not sure what that means, but old Wes Cooley does it. By the way, in the cycle world that's just out, they got a little article about Wes Cooley in there. Anybody who doesn't know who Wes Cooley was or is, I'm not sure if he was or is. Anyway, another thing that worked out great on this bike, these gold handlebars, the Renfrew bars that we got turned on to these by Chuck, and again, thank you, Chuck. I've got them on 2 of the bikes. I ordered another set. I'm going to try to retrofit Sophia with these in the future at some point in time. We get a rainy day or whatever. I really like the feel of these bars because they get your weight right up over the front wheel, and on an older bike, that's one of the things that, to me, just makes the bike more comfortable when you start getting on 106 and getting into the twisty part of the ride. And I'm always monitoring anytime I use new paint, and this was a new gallon of paint that we did this bike with. Monitor how the paint's holding up. So far this is holding up perfectly. So once we get up there, and this, I put some of this on several other videos. There was quite a few bikes, of course, but then all of a sudden we're standing here, and it's on a separate video. About 100 motorcycles come in from, I think, from New York City, and we started cajoling with this guy and giving him a hard time about how big his mufflers are, but I do love the paint. This is a good choice for Larry. He wants to paint his Kawasaki green, so his track bike. This would be a good choice. We buy up a gallon of this stuff, we can paint 3 or 4 bikes. And I'm sure Luciano's going to want a bike painted this color very soon. But anyway, once those guys, and they actually took over the whole top of Bear Mountain, and it's a separate video, it's somewhere on here, the 100 bike, the guys from New York City, they were blast to hang out with. And of course all the regulars are there. We always like to try to get pictures of almost everybody's bike. There's always somebody new that we haven't met yet. Almost everybody's totally friendly. Some of the people, they get a little antsy if you look at their bike wrong, and you have to kind of convince them that you're not a cop or something. I don't know. I'm not sure what. Anyway, I always like to look at the Yamahas. Always looking for new ideas of stuff I could put on my Yamahas, both the RD and the R1. And this is one of the examples. Now this is a paint job we could have done something very similar on Luciano's R6, but he preferred to have the blue. Well, I took a few pictures of this. I'll keep them in my file. Now, to be honest, I think I could improve on this paint job a lot. Their stripes don't really, I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's not, because they're stickers, they can't go to the end of the part. So they always look a little cheesy to me when they use stickers. I do like the wheels, but I could have made this, Luciano, keep this in mind, I could have made this paint job really cool. I could have extended this down, widened this up. Keep that in mind next time you buy an R6, which probably, Luciano hasn't bought a bike in 2 weeks, so it might be the record. Anyway, Tim's bike, the 2 GS's. And when this day ended, Tim and I went for quite a nice ride up around Greenwood Lake, the long way. Another guy we really did like this. This was kind of a really cool bike. Old school retro Ducati, tubeless tires. And we were talking to this guy, was really a cool guy. And every once in a while you run into somebody who really has a love of older bikes. I think this guy was genuinely one of the people that, look at the clip-ons on this. He's got the riser clip-ons. Like most people, if you're gonna do anything except track days, it's nice if you can get the handlebars up an inch or two. And then just as the day ended, Pokey rolled in, and I mean literally rolled in. The engine wasn't running, so maybe he ran out of gas. I don't know. Or the FBI was tracking him down or something. Who knows? We never know. In our group of friends, you just never know. But anyway, somewhere on YouTube is that video of. Actually, it boiled down to 2 videos, the one of the 100 bikes arriving, and the one of the McLaren cars. It is a really nice bike. And I was really impressed. This Ducati, I told this guy, and of course I don't know who he is. I looked at the bike, and it's all blacked out, of course. And I said, there's only one thing wrong with this bike. You got too much gold on it. You paint the calipers. I think the only thing that wasn't black was the gold and the reflectors. But we could get a spray can of barbecue paint and straighten this bike right out for him anytime he wants. And poor Tim. Tim is riding around this whole day and never realized the baffle in his muffler had broken in half. The next day after this ride, he sent me an email, showed me the baffle. All of the packing came out, if there was any in there. He was giving everybody the sound of a GP bike. Yeah, he's looking at it here, but he still hasn't realized the baffle. Tim, the baffle's broken. Now, one of the things I like about this is the mufflers on this bike are from an '86, and they're black chrome, which was, I guess, in style back then. But they're not really the mufflers that belong on a bike. Anybody that really knows GS's would know that that's not the right thing. And I had to make these carbon fiber mounts because the aluminum one's fractured. And I was always worried they weren't going to work, they weren't going to hold up, but now we're almost 2,000 miles into this and they're holding up great. So that's a plus factor. And then we got ready to call it a little bit quits this day. But the weather this weekend was just spectacular. They had predicted 4 days in a row of beautiful weather. And so this is the beginning of Sunday. I had the R1 out, brand new tires. I mean, yeah, brand new. They have not even been rolled out of the garage yet. They have never been on cement except for to take this picture. So we wanted to go out, and Luciano has this special technique for scuffing in the tires as we head up north on 106. And it gets exciting after a while because, of course, Luciano is the master of scuffing in the tires. And I wanted to try, this is the first time I've actually ridden the bike with the new scoops, and they worked out to be just perfect. Everybody that saw them on the mountain was impressed. I don't know why, but even Josh Hayes was impressed. Or not. But everybody always loves those windy mufflers. And they've held up well now. You never do know. This is the kind of thing now, because the resin I used, I had only made model airplane parts with. I wasn't sure it was going to hold up. And it's an '09, we're into the 4th year, and the bike has about 14,000 miles on it. If they were going to go bad, I think they might have already gone bad, but so far so good. And I love the sound. And I've ridden behind this bike when Luciano and I had the 2 super bikes, and I've ridden behind him on his Ninja, and I love the sound. When you back off the gas, it sounds like 2 Ducatis. It really isn't, because it's a cross-plane engine, and it really has a nice mellow sound. So the trick is always on Sunday is our day to run up to Luciano's, check out his latest stuff, and he's always got something really exotic going on there. This is the RD we pulled up Saturday. We pulled this up out of his cellar, and he's got the big butt seat. I got kind of the half semi-big butt seat. And I like the way he mounted the taillight here. That's kind of nice. I may modify mine to put the taillight up higher, because the fender worked out to be pretty long on that. But again, with RDs, anything goes. You can customize them, and they're so nimble and so light. As long as you can keep your rear end from sliding off the back of the seat, you're home free all. Now the other thing, and this was surprising, we met somebody who had used this color paint on a Suzuki, I believe, but it looked like he might have ordered the paint from the same guy. I don't know. Here you can see Luciano's 2 RDs. This one I painted up with a little bit different paintwork, a little different seats. Got the little butt seat. This one's got the big butt seat. The Katana. By the way, Luciano's looking to sell some bikes. Anybody interested in a bike? He's got a Ninja 600 for sale, and among other things. Contact me or let me know. And this is the one he's gotten ready for track day. Has a new motor. He's already got the camera. No, I don't know if he's got the camera. Yeah, he's got the camera mounted already. Anyway, we'll get some footage from track day with the Ninja. His son's bike. And of course our beloved R1. Josh Hayes' illegitimate stepchild. Now we always enjoy Jose's company, of course. He's always got some great stories about his friends. Hiding behind barns, hiding behind lumber as the cops chase him. So anyway, that was really some funny stories. We looked at this bike, this turbo. That's a pretty rare bike, and we've seen them before. It's a nice turbo. Well maintained. Actually, when you see any bike up at the mountain, it's got to be relatively well maintained, because just to get it there is an ordeal. For us, it's like 62 miles to get there. So by the time you get back, you've got the minimum 104 miles on a bike, or 124, I think. Whatever it is, it's a lot. Red windshield. Not sure that would look the same on Sophia. One of the ones, Luciano has this exact bike. And so he was checking this one out, looking for something he could steal some ideas. A nice old Yamaha. Haven't seen this one yet, but this was really a nice shape. Nice restoration, custom seat, custom pipe, and looks like it's rejetted with a jet kit and everything. And it looks like he uses it for drag racing because it looked looked like it had been lowered. The old fairing. A lot of guys had these years ago. That was a very common thing. Always some nice Harleys with nice paintwork. A nice all black vet. And we heard the story about there's a guy that has one black Corvette of every year ever made except the original year because they didn't come black. But he's got one of every year. And that's somewhere on YouTube. I don't have the link anymore. But anyway, Sunday played out just as good as you could expect. Now, this is the funny part of Sunday. On the way up to the mountain, Luciano and I got behind two gray Ferraris. One convertible, one not convertible. And I was waiting for the road to open up as the other people that were going hiking and stuff. I thought, these guys, as soon as the road opens up, they're just going to hit it. And we rode behind them for about 5 miles, and they never went over 40 miles an hour. And I said, come on, I passed them. And then I looked back, Luciano passed them, and I said, oh man, you're going to buy a Ferrari, get on it. Anyway, some of the nicer custom bikes. This was a nice bike. I'm sure Pokey would like to add this to his collection. An 82 Moto Guzzi 500, and he was kicking it. There's something with the solenoid. In fact, Jose went over and showed him how to kick it and he knows more about these electronic things than I do, and showed him how to get it started. But they ultimately had to push start the bike, so I don't know. KTMs. I always like KTMs. Always like the look. All business. Very angular styling. Chicks Bandit. You notice the seat. He's got a custom seat on there. Or it's a loaf of rye bread. I don't know. I think he's smuggling drugs in that seat, to be honest. Anyway, here we go with one of the really nice clean Hondas. And here he is kicking the Moto Guzzi. This was funny. And then the usual guys with the vets and whatnot coming up there and doing their little burnouts and stuff. And we actually ran into a guy this day, Luciano will remember this, who had a stunt bike up there. And we were asking him about, how you got all this stunt stuff, are you going to do some stunts for us? And he said, no, his wife won't let him do stunts anymore. Oh my God. Now, I don't know how you keep track of if your husband did stunts or not. I don't know. Anyway, RC8's really cool KTM. That is, there's two fellas have these up there. I've seen them both at the same time. This is the black one, and there's a white one. A blacked out Victory. A bike that looks like the twin to Luciano's. Some of the nice paint on the R6s. One of the Repsol replicas. Boy, there's no doubt about it. Some of the Harleys really have nice paint. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Whoever comes up with the colors at Harley has got some good taste. Some of our other friends we haven't seen in a while, Mo, and his very loud, or maybe it's still loud, I don't know, his R6. He's dying to get a BMW HHR, and he's waiting. He's already got a deposit on it, so maybe this R6 will be for sale real cheap soon. I don't know. And of course, you never want to end the day without our good friend that comes up with the 1915 Harley. He always attracts a crowd. So this is the way this worked. Here I am with my Ferrarized R1, and up pulls a real Ferrari. So we got to go over there, and I just happen to have my Ferrari shirt on. And I'm talking, the guy is super, super friendly. His wife or girlfriend's super friendly. And, you know, he does the whole thing, tells me all about the car and how he loves it, and he polishes it every day, and it's got 7,000 horsepower, and And I'm asking him, I'm thinking, you know, there's something I got to look at here. I looked at the tires, and from looking at the tires, they're either brand new or he's one of these guys that just doesn't exactly race it. I guess that's the right way to put it. Look at that Ferrari engine. Is that nice? Boy, no matter what angle you look at that. John Cafaro, that is some nice engine. Anyway, we really do. We're really jealous of all these guys that have a real Ferrari. But they're jealous of me. When I showed them the shirt, I said, and every once in a while, believe it or not, somebody believes that I really have a Ferrari. And that's when it gets dangerous. That's when you know you're in trouble. Now remember, you may remember if you watched all those flip videos years ago, or maybe only a year ago, I got some of this material that they make the interiors out of. I got it this color in vinyl. And I made a seat for Sophia, and I didn't like it. When I looked at it, I said, oh my God. It just didn't do anything for me. And he's got the Scuderia Ferrari, absolutely immaculate. I think he just waxed it. Anyway, we took our Ferrari home, and finally, after a day of riding up and down a mountain and up around Greenwood Lake and making sure the scoops scooped like they should have scooped and the poops pooped like they pooped. And finally, at least we have some wear and tear on the back tire, and we're ready. Summer's here, and we're ready for, I hope the weather stays the way it is today. This has been 4 spectacular days.